What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Sporgo. And the first thing I want to do, guys, is apologize for the video that I posted up earlier. And the reason that I'm apologizing is because I was actually wanting to do an initial comparison between Duo Lawn and Kusanagi. Who is actually the better sport, especially since I have Duo Lawn at A5 with a character like Rugal, who actually benefits from Duo Lawn's leadership. Well, the reason that I deleted the video and the reason I threw out that apology is because I wasn't comparing Duo Lawn to this guy. I was actually comparing Duolon to EX Keo. Now, how in the hell I did that, I have no idea, but that's exactly what I did. So again, guys, my apologies, my bad. So we're going to correct that video, and we're actually going to show what the actual comparison does look like between the right characters in Kusanagi and Duolon. And these are two insane supports, especially Duolon for your temporal mystery fighters. But is he really worth taking to A5, right? Because we know his damage is lackluster. We know that his 3PG can get interrupted against Guild Raid, so that's already two huge knocks against the character. But what about support? You think, well, if we put him as a support, then yeah, right? So in my team composition, I would use Duolon in the leadership, obviously, for the 65% increase to temporal fighters, which Rugal does benefit. Bison here is just going to be using for his, breaking the meter, just applying poison. We're not going to use his weaken. We're going to use the weaken from Duolon, right? Because Duolon's weaken does increase all damage received by 35%. And on top of that, then he has the huge leadership, and he also will give a huge attack buff from his second skill by 40% for 12 seconds that applies to him and any ally on the team. That is nice, right? And then also with his default, he can actually increase attack by 35% or actually up to 110% attack for 12 seconds upon use. So having this extra 110% attack and the 40% extra attack is just nuts. On top of the increase all damage received by 35% and the leadership. And when you look at that, you would think, man, this is really awesome. Like, this is insane. Now I'm going to be running the comeback set on him. The reason I want to run the comeback set is because we want to do his 3PG immediately. We want to go into his 3PG right away because we want to have that weekend available whenever we circle around and bring in Rugal later on. So literally we're going to do the 3PG for Duolon first, and we're going to do the 3PG for Rugal, and because we want to have Rugal's EX core unlocked and ready to go is concentrate whenever we bring him in after we use Duolon's buffs. So it's Duolon's 3PG, Rugal's 3PG, then Bison's 3PG, then Guild Raid Rugal. We'll do an explosion. We'll do Bison's 3PG, or we'll do 1, 2, 3 with Bison, and then we'll switch to Duolon, go 1, 2, 3, hit the default. Then we're going to hit the weekend, and then we're going to bring in Rugal and start beating the living hell out of the Guild Raid boss, right? And, and another thing to know, guys, is that this guy's at A5, right? He's got, he's much more developed than my Kusanagi. Now, for the other team composition, guys, it's actually going to be, Kusanagi's actually going to be over here, and Rugal, we're going to be using Rugal's leadership, which actually gives 50% increase of attack and the 10% critical rate, right? And Kusanagi here actually is pretty awesome. One, because you don't have to level him up very much. I will have a super armor card on him. This is the card set that I ran him. I don't even know if this really makes much of a difference, but even if it does, it wouldn't be that much because it just increased all damage received by 10%. But when it comes to Kusanagi, the way his core works, guys, is whenever you tag out and you bring in your next character, that next character has an increased all damage received by 35% for 10 seconds. It's not 15 seconds like the weekend from Duolon, but remember, you're not going to spam your skills for no 15 seconds, right? You're not going to spam them. Maybe about 10 seconds, maybe a little bit more, depending on how long you have when that meter is broken on the Guild Raid boss. So that is something to keep in mind, right? You just have to switch the character. You don't even have to press a button. You don't have to press a skill. So it makes them very, very easy to play with. And on top of that, if you use the first skill, you'll get up to 60% increase extra attack, right? Duolong gives 40%, right? In his kit, and he also gives the extra 110% from his default. So Duolon and his leadership. So he's got a lot of extra advantages against Kusanagi, a lot. And if this is an A5 Kusanagi, we would get his EX core, which actually I believe increases critical rate for the other characters, right? But we're not even going to use that. We're just using a A1 character to get it done. And I'll bring up the run for you guys right now, and you can see how we do it. Now, I do play these runs a little bit different. You see we do have Kusanagi up there, and I just, want to hit Rugal's 3PG immediately, again, so we have the EX core unlocked and ready to go whenever we run through our skills, right? So we'll switch to Bison here, and this is something else, by the way, that's really nice about Kusanagi, is that unlike a character like that, you're going to use weaken on, I mean, Bison's kind of an exception because by the time he finishes his 3PG, he's ready to do his EX core. You know, with a character like Duo Lon, the way that you have the team set up with him being in the leadership, you have to build up his 3PG so that way you have the weekend available whenever you bring in Rugal and start doing a bunch of damage. Whereas with Kusanagi, you don't have to do that, right? It's just that's pretty damn nice. And you guys are going to be pretty surprised by this outcome. And I think people are going to have a bit of a sour taste probably with Duo Lon, or at least with Netmarble, not Duo Lon, but with Netmarble for what they actually did to the character and how they treated him. You know, I deleted that video earlier, not because I was embarrassed about making a mistake. I make all kinds of mistakes. We're all human. We make mistakes. I deleted it because there was misinformation in that video. I didn't want people to think that Duo Lon was something that he really isn't, because after I did a proper comparison, as you guys are going to watch, it is a different story, guys. It is a big different story. Even though Rugal has 15% less attack, right? He's got 50% attack instead of 65% from Duo Lon, but he does have the 10% critical rate, right? That is something to keep in mind. The damage will still be pretty similar, guys, right? A little spoiler there. It's going to be pretty similar between this A1 Kusanagi, who doesn't even need to be A1. Level 90 would be more than enough. Don't even need his 3PG. Duo Lon, you don't really need his 3PG either, to be perfectly frank, guys. If you're using him as a support, right? You really don't. It helps because you can do it in the first round and then have that weekend available and delay the timer. It definitely helps, but you don't really need it. But you will lose a little bit of damage because of it, because of the initial startup of the guild raid boss. And as you guys can see, right, we got about 14 billion right now. I am not using the weekend from Bison. I don't believe the weekend from Bison and the increased target damage received from Kusanagi stack on top of each other. But in all reality, this is just a comparison between Duo Lon and Kusanagi, because Kusanagi is the best support character that we have available in the game. So it's only right to compare Duo Lon to the best support that we have, right? And like I said, guys, you may be surprised. In my initial video, the first video that I did since I was comparing to Kyo, right, who doesn't give all that increased target damage received, right, who doesn't give increased attack by 60% to all the allies and all these things, the damage obviously was much less, right? I mean, duh. But in this situation, right, with a proper comparison and a proper test between these two characters, it is a different world. It is a different world. I mean, look at this, guys, right? We're 22 billion, right? 22 billion at the halfway mark using Kusanagi. 22 billion, guys, right? That is, I mean, look at it. We'll just go let it play a little bit longer, right? Well, it doesn't really matter, but 23.4 billion. 23.4 billion with Kusanagi, okay? And I'll just kind of move it along a little bit here, guys, right? And we'll start off with the 3PG from Duo Lon. Like I said, we're doing this because we want to make sure we have the weekend available the next time around whenever we start using Rugal to spam our skills, right? Perfect. We got our 3PG built up. We're going to do the 3PG, then we're going to switch to Bison and do his 3PG, okay? By the way, guys, I did try some different rotations with Duo Lon. Because this second skill gives the extra 40% attack, I thought that if I would go, you know, after I use the default and get the extra 110% attack, I thought if I did the 1-2 afterwards, that we would get more attack maybe on top of the initial default. But from the testing that I did, it didn't look like it was stacking. It did not look like it was stacking. So, yeah, at least from the testing that I got. Right? And guys, like, I mean, seriously, you know, the score to beat is 23.4. Like, is it worth it to A5 this character in them crappy rates banner? Because they are crappy rates, guys. 0.6% is terrible. Something that Netmarble definitely needs to address. But honestly, you're going to get pretty pissed off when you see this. At least I am so far. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to do things a little bit differently. But you're getting his buffs from his default, right? And you're getting his buff, that 40% attack from his second skill, and I am using that weekend every single time. And yet our damage is very, very similar to the A1 character that we just used that everybody got for free. Now, obviously, if you don't have Kusanagi and you weren't playing, you started Kofas because of this version of Rugal or you started because of Duo Lon, it's a different story. He's going to be a massive support for you, especially at A5 for the temporal mystery fighters like Rugal, Orochi, and Guinness. He will be, guys. He will be. If you don't have Kusanagi and we don't even know when he's going to come back, right, then it's a different world. It's a totally different story, right? But if you have Kusanagi and you're watching this video, you're probably going to be thinking to yourself, what the hell, Netmarble? Like, why? Like, his buffs, like, we should be getting more damage than this, right? We should be doing more because if you don't really see a difference in the damage between a character like Kusanagi, who's free, and then the banner character who you have to spend an insane amount of rubies to get, right? You got to A5 that guy. He's an EX character, and you have to get 7 memories to A5 him. 7 memories, unless you're damn lucky, you're going to go 2 pities minimum, 3 to 4 pities on the average to be able to do that. I did 4 pities in this banner. 4 pities, guys. That's 18,000 rubies times 4, right? Think about that. That's a lot of damn rubies. It's over 70,000 rubies, right? That's a lot. It takes a free-to-play player a long time to save them up. And if they pull for this character and they were trying to A5 him, they're going to be very, very disappointed because, as you guys can see, we're almost at 18 billion and the time is almost up for the halfway mark. What? Like, I don't understand this at all, right? Well, we'll go ahead and let the 3PG play out, right? We'll let it play out just because it's cool. It's fun to watch, right? But we'll pause this afterwards, guys, and look at the damage, right? Check this out. 22.8. We did less damage than what we did with Kusanagi. And that was a good run. That was played really, really well, at least as far as I can tell. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. But from the testing I've done, and I've played these runs a bunch of times. I've done these a bunch of times. And this is the outcome I keep getting. Kusanagi either is just as good or he's better. Obviously, guys, there's a lot of variables when it comes to doing these gameplays. How many critical hits you're doing, right? The timing of when the meters get broken and when you're actually doing your damage. I mean, there are some variables in there, but that was a pretty damn good run. And that's all the more we did. We didn't even do better than this team, which is a whole lot cheaper. Guys, you don't need, I mean, I wasn't even using the weekend for Bison, right? I'm just using an A1 character. That I don't even, that's another thing. I don't even need a 3PG4. If you're going to pull for a 3PG for Duo Lon, then you're going to spend even more rubies. So in my opinion, guys, in my humble opinion, they did this guy dirty. They absolutely did him dirty because not only does he lack in damage, but he's not even a very good support for Rugal, at least in this comparison that I did today. Now, maybe I'll do some more comparisons. Maybe I'll try some other things, but from the way it looks so far, it looks like Duo Lon is a pass unless you're a hardcore fan. And no, guys, that I'm not trying to knock on the character. The reason that I'm kind of ragging on Netmarble is because they should have done better for this character. They should have made him stronger. If they're going to make a support character out of this guy, then he should be a valuable support. If I could just throw in a free-to-play character like Kusanagi at A1, then that's what most players are going to do, right? Including myself. Why would I throw in a character that I got to hit the weaken skill, I got to go 1, 2, 3, and the damage isn't even as good as a character I can just go 3, 2, 1, and then switch to the next character, right? I mean, Kusanagi is just even easier to play and easier to apply the buffs because you automatically get the increased target damage received when you just tag in, right? It's just so wacky what they've done to this character. I mean, literally the worst, in my humble opinion, guys, the worst EX character we have ever gotten. And I hope to God that Netmarble does not repeat this. And really, I hope they buff the character and give him some love, either make him a better support or make him just stronger. You know, make it to where his 3PG doesn't get interrupted. Something, you know, do something for this guy because he absolutely deserves it. So guys, let me know what you think about this comparison. Let me know what you think about Duo Lon. And do you have an A5 Duo Lon and have you tested them? And are you getting around the same outcome that I'm getting? And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GN2+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See everybody.